Hey team, welcome to this 5-part mini-series called the Absentee Farmer. If you followed my last video, you know that I like the multi-crop greenhouses. So what we're going to try to do for this particular series, if I can drive straight and not crash here, is we're going to try to take and use just the production facilities, just the greenhouses, just the factories, and what we're going to try to do is make $1 million. Oh! Roll over, roll over, roll over. Come on, you can do it. Yes. Okay. So we're going to try to make $1 million in the next 2 years using the greenhouses and the factories. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to pick anything up. We're not going to deliver anything. We're not going to move anything. We're not going to do anything but sit on our ass and play with the numbers. The idea is this. Buy it from the greenhouse, buy it for the production facility, buy it for the or within the production facility itself so we don't have to haul anything. We're not going to deliver anything because we're going to sell it right from the production facility or the greenhouses directly as well. So the idea, we're going to start off with 6 multi-crop greenhouses. Thought I'd be kind of cool and might put them in a little donut circle type shape. And what are we going to do for water? Well, the water is going to actually be the easiest part because we're actually going to use the free water, big water mod. We're going to place down the big 20-gallon tank and boom, we're going to have all the water we're going to want. So once we get our greenhouses set here, we're going to go into each of these greenhouses and we're going to turn on the crops that we can use water with. Now, that's what we're going to start with, what we're going to progress on further than that. So each one of these, what's going to be best crop? I don't know. Let's go with our root crops. We used that in our last series, worked out pretty well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on root crops. We're going to take those root crops, going to activate each one of them. We're going to sell them, put them into a sales state so that we are selling those crops, and we're going to turn on all of the selling for 3 of them, and then the other 3 of them we're actually going to put that down to our factory, and our factory is going to make sugar, and it's also going to make for us our French fries. Now, over the next couple of days, what we're going to do is we're going to sleep and we're going to wake up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our finances. So day 1, looks like we made a little bit of money. We're out about $7,500. Keep in mind, this is half of the month. So the prior month in August, we actually made 10 grand on our production sales. So we're going to go through each and every month, pretty much the same steps. We're going to figure out and analyze the data and look at the data and see what is going to be best for us to create. So in the beginning here, we weren't selling a whole lot of stuff out of our factory. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to switch over our factory runs and we're going to turn on those factory runs. We're going to turn on our French fries. We're going to turn on our sugar beet sugar. Then we're going to take each one of the outputs and we're going to set those to either to be storing because we're going to store for a short period of time and then we'll sell, or we'll set it to selling. We'll store for we'll actually sell it when it actually produces. So every single night that we sleep, we will be able to make money. Now, the general idea that we're going to start off with here is water crops. Those water crops are going to be our French fries and our sugar beet sugar. And those 3 buildings are going to produce and distribute down to the factory, and then the factory, whatever the factory makes, we will sell. Now, we will have fluctuations in price. We will see fluctuations in cost across the board as we progress, but to the most part, what we're going to try to do is balance each and every month between how much we're producing and how much we're selling, how much we're producing in the greenhouse and pushing down to the factory, and how much the factory can handle and intake, and go on from there, step by step by step. We're going to concentrate just on this crop for now. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to generate a little bit more extra cash so that we'd have some more money in hand so that we can expand. So we're going to jump through day 3 here. If we're looking at our costs, we're making right around 10 to 14,000, but our costs are also slowly going up. And because we're now moving things from the greenhouse over to the factory and not doing it by hand, it's doing it through the automation process, it's actually charging us that amount as well. So we're going to be generating more costs as we go, but hopefully we will get to a state where we'll be making more money than anything else. So the next thing, now that we have a little bit of money in pocket, let's go and expand. We have 6 greenhouses. Let's put in another 6 greenhouses. This time, I don't know, maybe we'll do more of a traditional square kind of a model where we kind of put them side by side. And again, we're going to go with the multi-crop greenhouses. We're going to put 6 of them in, 3 across the top, 3 across the bottom. And the general idea behind this is the other ones are making root crop. We had success with that in our last series. So I was thinking maybe on this one we might do the same thing as we did before and concentrate on oil crops. So the 6 that we have currently already built, 3 of them are going to the factory to be able to make French fries and sugar. And what we're going to do with this here is a very similar type model, a very similar type setup. Now, before we can do any of that with the factory, we actually have to go through and activate all these. So as we go through and activate with the water and then set the distribution models, and again, the idea is we're going to get to the point where 3 of them will be going to the factory to produce oil. We'll get to that here in a moment. And then the other 3 will just be straight out selling. Again, we still need water, so we're going to use the free water mod, and we're going to plop in our big old water tank right here in just a second. Now, the water tank will feed not only the 12 or the 6 greenhouses, and the distance of the water will also reach down to any factory that we had. So we're putting the factories just south or just to the bottom of where each one of those greenhouses are. So putting all that into context, what does that mean? Well, it means that at the end of this video, that's coming up here in just a second, we're going to have 12 greenhouses feeding into 2 different kinds of productions where we're going to be making either oil or French fries or sugar. Come back for the second part.